What's up? What's up, y'all? I'm just Humpty Dumpty. I'm gonna fall when the stereo pumps me. No, I'm playing. Anyways, wait a few seconds. Wait a little bit. What's going on? We got one in there. Salute. Thanks for stopping in, whoever it might be. Um. So yeah, this one's tonight. It's gonna be a little something talking about the fight last night, UFC fight 313. Um. And Kalaev took the belt from Potan Pareda um, with a unanimous decision. I didn't think, I mean, other than his normal strut into the octagon when he, when he does the walk like that, and then he acts like he pulls the bow back and shoots his opponent. Other than that, that was pretty fired up, right, hyped up. But other than that, he looked terrible in there. He got outbeat, he got out muscled, he got outsmarted, he got out performed, he got out pounded a little bit, out punched, out kicked, everything. You know what I'm saying? Um, uh, I seen a little post that Pareda said that he likes that Anna Kalaev likes to use the cage, the fence. He said he likes to use the fence, and he said it's boring, but it works for him. And I mean, I don't think there's anybody that watches MMA that wouldn't say that they've seen boring fights in the UFC before. I mean, it just goes without saying. It happens, right? Especially the ones less people are into the grappling, right? The Greco-Roman style wrestling and the rolling around like when I was a kid when they first came out, UFC. Hoist Gracie, he wears gi, right? His gi, and that would help him out because they'd be trying to grab him, by his gi, and then he would slip out of it, and all of a sudden grab an arm bar or a leg, whatever, and wrap him up, pretzel him up, and have him tap. So at some point, UFC eliminated all that. Everybody comes in with the same type of attire. You know what I mean? But you know, thinking back, I mean, there's been a lot of fights, just like boxing, same thing. Sometimes some of the fights are very boring. The guys study each other too much and wait for the other one to make a move before they make a move, right? And it's just, but then again, styles make fights. So, you don't always get what you expect, right? Or we get the opposite. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And so, I mean, it's real funny, huh? Homie cut it out, but you're always right here, huh? You're always right here, huh? Always right here watching videos. So I appreciate that. So keep on with it. I got my own personalized cheerleader right here. You know what I mean? Anyways, so you want to jump on since you want to discuss what we were talking about the other day? That I posted some the other day. You want to jump on now? And come with some facts though. Don't come with no BS. So anyways, you don't always get what you expect to get in some of these fights, right? Either boxing or MMA. It's not like pro wrestling where it's a predetermined outcome. You know what I'm saying? Unless something is fixed, right? Which we don't see that really too often no more, like like that, like it was at one time back in the 50s and 60s, right? Maybe even the 70s. Certain people had their hands in certain things, right? And just the way it was back then. But yeah, Ankalaev, he went in there and did his thing, man. He took that belt, you know what I mean? He took that belt and did his thing. Let me turn this light off. He took his belt. He took Alex's belt and did his thing, and you know what I mean? And what I was saying with Alex Pareda, he hasn't had a long career at all, but yet he's had two of the main titles from UFC, right? He had the middleweight title he took from Izzy, and then Izzy came back and knocked him out, took it back. And then he went up to light heavyweight and did his thing and took that belt. Now he's lost it again, but he's but at the same time of him not having that many fights and he's not relatively had a long career in MMA, he is 37 years old. So that's starting to get at that age. Like in my opinion, I think Izzy's done. Israel Adesanya is done as far as at competing at the top level. You know what I'm saying? I think he's lost his last 3 out of 4, and he's been knocked out a couple of them for sure. You know, he didn't look good against Strickland. Now this last fight he had, he definitely didn't look good. And then he beat Duplessis beat him. Duplessis, however you said. He beat him. So you know, I think at this point, Adesanya's done. He's not. I mean, yeah, he can still fight and compete, but he's not going to compete at the level that he once was at. Obviously, if you continue to keep losing, you know what I mean. So we got that going on. Then we got uh coming up in May. I know there's probably some more fights. Uh, I know there's probably some fights in between that, but coming up in May in New York, you got the Rolly Romero contra Ryan Garcia, and then you got Teofimo Lopez contra Arnold Barbosa Jr. Those should be two good fights. I think Ryan's gonna knock Rolly out. I think the same way because he don't have no skills. Rolly don't have no skills. Yeah, he packs a punch, but he don't have no skills. Like you know, Tank Davis destroyed him. And then the two titles that he won, he really didn't win those fights. So he's you know, some say it's because he was signed with Mayweather and that was part of it. I won't go that far, but you know, I see Ryan because Ryan got boxing skills as well as power and the left hook. So I definitely see Rolly taking a nap on the canvas. The Lopez and Barbosa fight now, that one might be a little different. Teofimo Lopez showed, you know, he's got skills. Became a champion real young in his career, like 13 fights, 15 fights. But then he lost a couple times, you know what I mean? But then right now he's a champion again. Barbosa's a hungry fighter, got a lot more fights in. He got 34 pro fights, you know, so I'm looking forward to see what happens there. Hey, I'm looking forward to see what happens there with that one, with those fights. And I think, I'm not sure if Devin Haney's fighting again, but we know that one fight just happened with Tank Davis and Lamont Roach Jr., which was a pretty good fight. Lamont came out shining. Like I had mentioned on one of the videos, that should have been counted as a knockdown. It wasn't, and if it was counted as a knockdown, he would have won. Hey, what is it? So that's where we're at with those, and then something else I was gonna bring up. Oh, I did a video on Lex Luger the other day, and it just so happens he made now he's been inducted into the Hall of Fame, WWF, WWE. I always say WWF, but it's WWE now. He's been inducted into Hall of Fame. He should have been in there a long time ago, I believe. He's had a long story career, 15-year plus career, multiple world titles in the WCW, Championship Wrestling in Florida, Jim Crockett Promotions. He was a Florida champion in Championship Wrestling in Florida. He was the United States champion, Jim Crockett Promotions. He was at one point, I think he was even the tag team champions with Barry Windham, I think, if I remember correctly. He held the big gold belt and he held the WCW title. I think still to this day he's held the USA title, the US title longer than anybody. And now the US title's in WWF because WWF bought out WCW or WWE, excuse me. And so Lex Luger's in the Hall of Fame finally. And that was one of the that was one of the topics that was brought up in his interview with that dude, Chris Van. I can't remember. It's Chris Van something. I put the link in the video in the description of my video I did on Lex Luger. I put the link to that video in there too. If anybody wanted to check it out, just go to the description and you can find that interview. And then I heard that Vince McMahon wants to start a whole new wrestling company from scratch. Yeah, it sounds interesting, but you know, I don't think it'll work because you know all the talents in WWF. I mean, what's he gonna do? WWE. I mean, what's he gonna do? Partner with them when he still owns a lot of it, right? Well, actually, no, he sold it, but he sold it, got a bunch of money, but I think he owns still stocks, I believe, or something. But with these allegations that came up on him, you know, that company, the same company that owns UFC, owns them as well. And so, you know, they thought the best thing was for him to get out of there, you know, not be involved no more. I don't see it starting from scratch. You still got AEW, you got TNA, I think still going, and Ring of Honor, I believe. You know, AEW, they got a lot of stars over there. A lot of them are past their prime from the WWF, WWE. I keep saying WWF over there, but AEW, they do things funny, right? I don't watch them like that, but there's a show that I watch and they talk about them a lot. Uh, you know, it's just the camera work is like really janky. The lighting's really janky. You know what I'm saying? It looks it seems like it's 1995 or 1985 rather than 2025 when you watch them. Um, you know, they don't go by storylines no more. That's what's big time missing in that promotion, AEW promotion. Is everybody knows you watch wrestling, there was a storyline. They were always telling the story, you know, with each if it was Hulk Hogan against Big John Studd, or Hulk Hogan against Mr. Wonderful, or Hulk Hogan against Terry Funk, or Hulk Hogan against Roddy Piper, or Hulk Hogan against whoever it was, King Kong Bundy, Andre the Giant, there was a storyline, and you know, and they molded that story and created that story, and it went along. You know what I mean? And you know, a lot of people miss that in wrestling nowadays, as well as the people nowadays in the ring. You know, you get your finish done on them, they hop right back up like nothing. So it's like they took a lot from wrestling, of the old school way of wrestling, and the kayfabe, obviously, and all that stuff. So I don't believe that. I don't believe that Vince McMahon would be able to pull it off, especially with all these scandals he's been linked up with now. He's been what three or four pretty big ones. I don't see him surviving that in the sense of business wise. You know what I mean? I don't think he could do it. Plus, he would have to use a lot of his own money. I mean, he's got a ton of money. We know he's a billionaire, but you know, you're a billionaire. You're not going to want to be using, you know, I wouldn't say. Well, I think they said he's worth. Well, at one point, the WWE was worth 9 million. I remember at 9 billion at one time, and then it went down a little bit to like 7 billion. So obviously, the company's worth a certain amount of money. I don't believe that's all his money at that. You know, he probably has half of that. But you got to have liquid cash to, you know, start things, as well as be able to get loans in if that's the case. So I don't know how that would all work out for him, because probably, you know, within a short time, and even like a big promoted like pay-per-view can kill it. You know what I'm saying? So he would have to come up with all new stuff. You can't use WrestleMania. That's even though he came up with it, it's over there in WC or WWF, WWE, excuse me. You know, Starcade, Hollywood, Halloween Havoc, Survivor Series, Royal Rumble. Those names are all used over there. You know what I'm saying? Bash at the Beach. You know, that's all WCW. Old names. So he would have to come up with all new, fresh stuff. And a lot of guys that he worked with back in the day are dead now. I can't think of his first name right now, but Harold Fink, I think it was. Uh, Patterson's gone. He passed away. You know what I mean? Blackjack Lanza passed away. George Animal Steele's passed away. A lot of the dudes that he was working with back in the day have passed on. So he would, you know, he would have to start off fresh. Obviously, company all the way from the bottom up. You know, besides himself, I'm pretty sure he'd bring probably Pritchard in and J.R. Ross if he's, you know, if they're not with another promotion. Maybe you know, those kind of guys for sure. You know, these guys were dedicated to him for years. Uh, but I just don't think it'll go down. I don't think it'll go down that way. You know what I'm saying? I don't think he'll be able to swing it. A lot of people won't be interested with him because of what he's been involved with and linked to these scandals, right? But who knows for sure? I could be wrong, I guess, you know. But he's almost 80 years old now. You know, it's not like 1990 no more. You know what I'm saying? He looks different. You know, I don't know. He's done some things to his face and he looks different. So I don't know. So anybody that watches this even later, drop it in the comments what you think about that on any of the stuff I'm talking about. Um, yeah, so I just don't see that happening. As far as getting back to boxing, um, doesn't seem like the Canelo Bud Crawford fight's going to pan out. I wouldn't really want to see that anyways. I don't believe that Crawford, even though I consider Crawford the best of the best as far as uh, welterweights for the past couple of years, even though he's went up and he got another title at junior middleweight or super welterweight, whatever you want to call it. That's 154 pounds. Uh, Same way Jermell Charlo when he fought Canelo, he never felt that type of power before. Uh, and I believe that Crawford will definitely be hit with some stuff that he's never felt, and not only that, the Canelo's bigger. Canelo hits hard for even that weight. You know what I'm saying? Canelo will sit back and wait for that punch or two to get you, and he'll get you out of there. You know what I mean? You're talking about a naturally smaller guy. I don't think, I don't think it'll happen. Another thing that I've been seeing a lot lately too is that they're saying that when they go fight over there in Saudi Arabia for Turkey al-Sheikh or whatever his name is, that nobody will say Jesus. Nobody will say Jesus in front of him. I don't know how true that is. I mean, people don't say Jesus, Jesus all day. They'll say it like, at the end of the fight and say, I give all glory to God or something like that. But that's God, not Jesus. Even though we're taught as the Trinity is all one, right? The Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, the Holy Ghost, whatever. Muslims, yeah, Allah is God, but Jesus, they don't look at him as one. I think he's more the Archangel Michael, I believe, if I remember correctly. So I don't know, but I don't see why would he be offended by that they're saying, or just flat out these guys are scared to say it because they know that Turkey al-Sheikh would be offended, or because they don't want to offend the Saudis, or I don't get that part, because we all know that the Saudis got to know that the Western world is majority Christianity, right? Or believe in one form or another of Christianity, whatever denomination, but Christianity, right? So I don't know. That's real new to me hearing that. Well, we'll see we'll see whatever comes out about that. But that's where boxing. They had some good fights too. The Better Beef and the Bivol rematch happened, and it was a different outcome than the first one. But then WBC butts in and orders Bivol to fight David Benavidez. So I'm just like, man, well, WBC, man, they're real political when they want to be, and other times they don't. They just stay out of it, which is it's got to be consistent. Jermall Charlo didn't fight for like 2 years. They never stripped him, never nothing, right? Canelo for the longest should have fought Benavidez. Benavidez was the interim champ. They never pushed for him to fight Benavidez. I'm only saying this because I'm like, Beterbiev gave Bivol a rematch. Now the second fight, Bivol beat Beterbiev. So now it should be the trilogy. You know what I mean? So I don't know. We'll see what happens with that. What else is it? What else was there to talk about? Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's what I was going to say about AEW. When I had brought up earlier, I wasn't finished talking about that. You got Jake the Snake Roberts is signed to AEW. Jake the Snake Roberts in the mid '80s, late '80s, early '90s was a very some consider a genius when it comes to the wrestling business, ring psychology, stuff like that. Right? Jake the Snake Roberts was very creative. Oh wow, that's going dead too now. He was very creative. Let me plug this in before I don't want it to die on us. He was very creative, and at different times in his career, he helped doing some booking. Booker in professional wrestling is the guy who puts the matches together, does the outcomes. He calls the finish, how it's going to end, who wins, stuff like that. And they're a big part of the company back when it was territories, because they're the ones that would, book the hot matches that would bring fans, what they call putting asses in the seats. Jake the Snake was doing some of that with WWF at one time, and I think he did a little bit of it. And I don't remember if it was Georgia Championship Wrestling or Championship Wrestling in Florida, but he was involved a little bit. But Jake the Snake has his own podcast with Marcus D'Angelo, and Marcus D'Angelo's trying to be a wrestler now in the independent circuit, and he breaks stuff down all the time. So Jake the Snake's got a lot of knowledge and know-how, and know how to get it done. He's over there at AEW. You got Jericho's over there, I believe, a ring veteran. You got Samoa Joe over there. You got there's a few Christian and what's the other dude's name? Edge and Christian are over there. So these guys got years in the ring. And Arn Anderson was over there. I believe Tully Blanchard was over there for a while. Arn Anderson, Jake the Snake, Tony Khan needs to figure this out, because he's losing a lot of money. That with pro wrestling, you got to have a storyline. You have to have a story. You have to tell a story. It just doesn't work out just putting guys in there to wrestle. You know what I mean? And on top of that, he needs to upgrade his production crew as far as the lighting, the cameras, all that, to make it look, like I said earlier, it looks more like 85, 95 than 2025. You can really tell the difference between a WWF or WWE program and a AEW program. It's like comparing apples and oranges. It's real, big time difference. And what did the WWE do? They had a guy that ran the cameras for years. They got rid of him with the shaky cameras, and I don't watch wrestling like that no more. I haven't watched it since the late 90s. I was all into it from the mid 80s, 84, 85, all the way until like 91, 92, maybe 91 for sure. And then I didn't watch again until the NWO came out in WCW, and it was only WCW I watched. I didn't watch WWF ever. And that was 96 or 97, I believe. The NWO was. That was the last time I watched wrestling. So anytime I would watch it, anytime after that was just because I couldn't find nothing else on TV. And I put it on a couple of times. I put on Ring of Honor, AEW. Some guys I recognized, some guys I didn't know who the hell they were. Because back in the days, when I was growing up, when I was a kid in the 80s, I used to watch WWF on Mondays and sometime on Saturdays. If I didn't go to visit my dad on the weekends, I'd catch Saturday Night Main Event. And then I would catch the Monday show, which was Bobby the Brain and Gorilla Monsoon would talk about house shows that weren't on TV, right? I think it was called, it was on the USA station. I forgot the name of the show now. So I used to catch that one. But then when I would go to my dad's for the weekend, he'd have the cable box set up already where I would just have to hit certain buttons. He would tell me, and or originally until I knew him, but it would be ESPN, AWA Wrestling, and then the Superstation TBS. I'd watch Jim Crockett Promotions, which was at that time I thought it was NWA Wrestling, but no, it was Jim Crockett Promotions, and they were under the NWA, right? Because at that time, most of the promotions throughout the United States and Australia and Japan, they were all under the NWA banner. So that's why I really was hooked on Jim Crockett Promotions. Some people would call it NWA, and they had Jim Crockett Promotions had everybody with the main titles. They had the heavyweight champion, which was Ric Flair, and then it changed a few times to Dusty Rhodes. It changed to Ronnie Garvin. Wildfire Rich had it too, but it was before that. And I think Wildfire Rich beat. I think he beat Harley Race. I don't think he beat Ric Flair for it. But then they had the United States title, which was back then it was Magnum TA. Then it was Nikita Koloff. No, originally, let me take that back. Originally, it was Tully Blanchard had it, and that's when it was an all silver belt. And then they upgraded it to that USA title, which that was my favorite looking one. It was gold with the American flag on it. Uh, and then Luger had it. Barry Windham had it, I think. And then they had the television championship, which was the silver and the red belt. And when I first started watching, Arn Anderson had it. And then at different times, Tully Blanchard had it. Sting had it. A lot of guys had it. Dusty had it. You know what I mean? And and then the tag team belts, they had the tag team titles, and then they had the United States tag team titles. And that's how I got hooked on there. And then AWA wrestling, back then they had Sergeant Slaughter, they had Kurt Hennig, and they had Scott Hall, and they had the Fabulous Ones. They had the Crusher. They had Baron von Raschke. They had what's the other one? The Crusher, and then the Bruiser, Dick Bruiser, I think his name was. And they had Ray Stevens. Ray Stevens was there. So they had a lot of legends in AWA too. And then a lot of these guys just bounced around. You know, they would be in WWE or F. They'd be in AWA. They'd be in different ones in Georgia, Mid South. They'd be in Mid Atlantic, Championship Wrestling in Florida. They'd be in the Central States. They'd be in Portland, LA, San Francisco. A lot of these guys bounced around and wrestled for all those promotions. The old school wrestling, the promotions was in my opinion, was the best. I used to get the magazines, and besides watching those two that I said on ESPN and on the Superstation and then WWF, I knew already who Ted DiBiase and Dr. Dusty Williams, and Jerry the King Lawler and Superstar Dundee. I've never seen these guys wrestle until they got to the WWF or Jim Crockett, but they'd be in the magazines. Top of Abdullah the Butcher, Bruiser Brody, the Von Erichs, the Freebirds, Gino Hernandez, Chris Adams, the Missing Link. All these guys, they were around, but they were in different promotions that I didn't get to see here on TV, but I knew them from the magazines. You know what I mean? So, and then eventually, like I was saying a minute ago, a lot of those guys used to work here so many months, then go there, work here, go there. Some guys like Andre the Giant, Abdullah the Butcher, Bruiser Brody, the Road Warriors, they were special attractions. Like they would, be over here for a couple of weeks, then they go to this promotion for a couple of weeks, then they go to Japan, then they go up to Canada, and that's the way it was. So in a sense, Vince McMahon had a vision when he started buying all these people out, but it really hurt a lot of people pockets and a lot of people's businesses and a lot of people that were wrestling for those promoters that didn't have what it took as far as Vince McMahon was concerned to go up to New York, what they call New York, to wrestle for WWF at that time. Like Rock and Roll Express, they never wrestled up there. Except for I think they did wrestle for Smoky Mountains, and it was a bout in the WWF, I believe. I could be wrong about that. Oh man, I got tired out of nowhere. So, anyways, I figured I'd just come on and do a live because, and I knew, like I said, it was late already, and the 3-hour difference from the East Coast. A lot of people that tap in with me are from the East Coast. I was sure that I probably wouldn't get too many people in, but people would come back afterwards, and after it's uploaded and watch. That's cool. I just wanted to get some lives. I need to get some lives. I need to get on the schedule though and drop at least 2 lives a week, or if not 3, because I think that would also help get me boosted up in the algorithm with YouTube. Let me see something. I want to see. My back. I don't know why my little avatar is not showing up. I turn the camera off. That's weird. I have to figure it out, I guess. I thought I figured it out already, but I guess not. So I'm gonna go ahead and tap out on this one. I think I'm getting really tired right now. this time change kind of messed me up this morning when I woke up. It was a lot earlier than I than I felt originally this morning, but it's catching up to me now. Uh, yeah. Other than that, I got the Bulls over here. Daisy's in heat again, and she started on the 4th of March. Today's now the 9th, I believe, or it might be the 10th. Today's the 9th. I think it's the 9th. Yeah, today's the 9th. So she started about 5 days ago. So probably by Wednesday, I'll have to separate them. Put a gate, the little gate that I use, little kid gate, doggy gate, whatever you want to call it, and separate them. Usually I put him by the bed, bathroom area, and her up here in the front. I don't have a lot of room in here. It's basically it's a 1 bedroom or studio, excuse me. Very small though, very small. Um, so I got no room. I can't. I got no room here for puppies. There's no way I can do that right now. Um, Plus, my plan is I want to keep at least 2 female puppies out the litter, if not all the female puppies. Um, at least 4. And then I'm going to be placed, hopefully, if everything works out right, place them with certain family members. It'll be their dog, but, when it comes time to breeding, if I ever choose to breed them, then, then we would do that. But it's just too small in here to have puppies as well. We all know puppies like to chew. These guys don't really do that at this age. They got chew toys, real good chew toys, calm chew toys, so they don't break them. Because they used to just every toy I'd give them, they literally destroy it in a matter of minutes. So that's not happening. But puppies, it's a lot of work. Constantly cleaning up after them, constantly cleaning them. It is what it is. It's part of the job. It's part of the description. But the fact is, I don't have that much room in here. I wouldn't even try to take that on. It would be really, really, real hard to try to do that in here. Like I said, I don't have much room at all. It's small. It's a studio. It's real small. So, uh, yeah, it's not the right time. The only thing with that is that Daisy's already like 30. You see, August she'll be 3 years old. So this is her 6th heat. The reason I say that is because they say that if you plan on, okay, so first let's say it like this: if you plan to breed your female dog, you're supposed to wait till either she's about 18 to 20 months old or the 3rd heat, right? So she's on her 6th heat. But the thing is that they say if you plan on breeding your dog, say 2 times that you do it, or 3 times, you do it back to back to back to back. As long as they can handle it, they bounce back. Because they say that the uterus, per every heat they go into, their uterus gets damaged. You know what I'm saying? So if this is her 6th heat, I mean, how much damage has it done then? If that's all the true fact, the person that I heard this from, they got a darn good YouTube channel, and they put out excellent information on like DIY, do it yourself remedies for all kinds of different things. He's got bullies. He had XL, all XLs. Now he has XLs, standards, and pockets. And guys, go check that channel out because the information he gives it can be beneficial to your dog. Period. It doesn't have to be a bully or a bully breed. It could be any dog, and he gives good advice over there. So that's QBNK or QBN Kennels, and he's on all platforms: Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. You know what I mean? And you can learn a lot from his channel. I picked up a lot already. Some things I knew but didn't know exactly why that was or the proper terminology. But I learned a lot from his channel. And like I said, he gives out a lot of home remedies, DIY, do it yourself, on a whole slew of things. So go check him out. His name's Raouf with the Q. And then also World Health Pets. It used to be called Fit Bully TV. another guy that studies. He studies all kinds of things, and he studies, and then he also puts the study, like puts the study to the pedal. Like, in other words, what he studies, he actually puts it through trial tests, and he figure out what's the best thing to feed his dog because they all eat different. They all have different issues. You know what I mean? So I think that's real interesting too. You know what I mean? But I'm gonna go ahead and tap out on this one. I appreciate everybody that came in and that will come on later and check out the pre-recorded video. Like I said, I'm gonna try to make a video live stream at least 2 a week. Um, yeah, and go from there, as well as pre-recordeds and shorts. But yeah, that's all I got now. I'm getting real sleepy. Uh, my legs hurting real bad right now. So that being said, again, thanks everybody. I'm out.